Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Communications and Cigars 2026. Or cigars. Sorry, Communications and Conversations 2026 edition. I don't even know what show I'm doing anymore. We changed it from Communications and Cigars. So if you're coming over here, you're like, hey, I went to go look for Communications and Cigars. It's gone. Correct. Now we're Communications and Conversations. I don't even know my own show. But welcome to the first episode of 2026. It has been a busy start to 2026. 2025 ended like it was just like poof, gone. And so we're back. I actually had some concerned messages from people that went along and were like, I just got one the other day, as a matter of fact, back on Monday. Shout out to Scott. Scott, how you doing? Got your message. We got it on there. We were doing a show. We were recording the show. So I was going to shout out to you there. But I had other people. They're like, John, is the show done? Like, what's going on, man? Like, it hasn't been around. And I'm like, yeah, we took some time off for, obviously, for the holiday season and what have you. And then I've been busy with everything in January here. And now we're finally starting to not tread water. Or no, we're starting to tread water. That's right. We were not treading water before, but now we are starting to tread water. And so we're like, what can we do? What can we do for a show? And that was the other thing. Sitting down with the Communications and Conversations Brain Trust, me, we were like, what are we going to do? And I thought the first show right out of the chute here for 2026, I wanted to make it an interesting one. And it's not in the realm of the traditional communications, like people go ahead and say and think and everything like that. It is actually going to be dealing with somewhat of a communications thing on there. And today we're going to be talking about good old body cameras and dash cameras and stuff like that, and some legalities and everything like that, and, you know, little different shapes and sizes on there, just to kind of go ahead and put it in your mind what is out there now. Not necessarily like go out and buy one, but like what are some of the ramifications of it and stuff, and how can you use it and those kind of things on there. So we're going to talk about that today on Communications and Conversations. But before we jump into the show, let's go ahead, take a moment to thank our sponsor, the one who helps keep the lights on in the studio, that provides all these cool little gadgets and stuff, which is JJK Communications. JJK Communications is your source in northwestern Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, the upper Midwest. Let's just go ahead and call it that way, for a variety of communication resources. That's right, a variety of communication resources. And what I'm talking about here is I'm talking about consulting, plans, programs for your communication needs, sales, service, you name it, anything underneath the realm of communications, and that actually includes body cameras now, is there for you. Now, a little bit interesting part about it, too, is JJK Communications has a solution that a lot of people maybe are or not aware about, but they offer two systems for you to use as a business, an individual, family, hunting parties, whatever, and that is their JJK Connect system and their JJK Elite system. So what is JJK Connect and what is JJK Elite? I'm glad you asked that. JJK Connect is a traditional two-way radio network that allows users to rent space on there and allows you to communicate, whether that means communicating between people at your business in the capacity of work, whether that means going ahead and communicating with your family. A lot of hunters up here in northern Wisconsin don't want to be tied with these electronic dog leashes, right? The cell phones. They don't want to be out. They're out in the middle of the woods. They want to just talk to their hunting buddies. They want to be just by themselves. They don't want to be busy with things. Guess what? Many people go ahead and rent resources through JJK Connect system on there. That's right. Think of it this way. Think of being up in the middle of the woods, enjoying it. And if whether you're hunting or you're fishing, or better yet, you're doing some sort of UTV, ATV, four-wheel drive thing, you want to keep in contact with your members, guess what? Don't use CBs, which have limited range. Don't try to find if a GMRS repeater is available there and share space with it. Go and contact JJK Communications and find out what coverage can be offered by their JJK Connect systems. Now, here's another situation. Let's say you need a wider area distance, wider range. I use this, which is the JJK Elite system. That's right. JJK Elite uses LTE and Wi-Fi. We're different than the other ones. Our radios can be rapidly used, and we have a push to talk over cellular, a POC solution for you. But where JJK Connect systems and JJK Elite systems are different is that not only can you buy them at great pricing, but you can also rent them if you need to also. JJK Elite gives you nationwide coverage anywhere there's LTE and Wi-Fi. Don't be fooled by these other companies that saying, oh, when the cell phone networks are down, our radios still work. No, if your cell phone networks aren't down, you don't have connection with your LTE network, those other systems might fail. With JJK Elite, you go ahead and let us know where you're at, or from the front panel of the radio, you can connect to a Wi-Fi network, and that means any internet connection, not just LTE systems, but any connection allows you to make calls and connections to each other. I travel with these. I'm coming up traveling here in February, and guess what? I'm going to be taking my radio with me, and I could be in the airport, I could be in the hotel, I could be out traveling to wherever I need to go, and as long as I have IP connectivity, I can go ahead and connect to it. Check us out. Go ahead and get in contact with JJK Communications, right? Great people to work with, great staff to work with. They support a wide variety of different customers and have a wide variety of solutions. Thank you, JJK Communications, for supporting communications and conversations. Alrighty, on to today's episode, which is body cams. Body cams are becoming a thing, everybody. Alrighty. Now, let's take a look at some harsh realities about videoing. All right. Now, I'm gonna clarify this. So, I was asked to do a presentation. I'm probably not going to be able to do it, but I was asked to do a presentation with my EMS chief about body cams and EMS. Yep, that's right. Body cams and EMS. EMTs, paramedics, ambulance services, guess what? We're using body cams now, okay? The service I belong to has been using body cams now for almost 8 years. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years now. And now I'm sure, because of my audience and viewers, I'm guaranteed that some are going to pop up right away and say, you know what? Cool, great, grand. Police use them, everything like that. And there's others going to go ahead and be like, that's a HIPAA violation. No, it's not. It really isn't. Now, I'm not going to give you legal advice. I'm going to tell you kind of at the 10,000 foot layer. You have to do some research on your own, all right? If you're buying a body cam, even a dash cam, like a dash cam in a car here, I have an example one here. You get into this weird area that there are some laws, there aren't laws. There's these kind of things like that on there that could get kind of tricky depending on your scenario and situation. What I will tell you is that guess what? Body cams and usage of body cams really kind of an open public domain. And I'm not talking EMS now, but I'm talking about the open public domain is legal, right? It is legal, right? You can't, I love the saying, you can't trespass the eyes, okay? Meaning, whatever I can see, you can't tell me I can't look at that. So if I'm standing on the street, and I'm going to give you an example here before we jump into the body cam realm talking about them, but I'm standing on the street, and I am on the sidewalk, let's say, and I'm looking into a window. And let's say the window happens to be a bank window. And there's no shades, there's no nothing. And I'm looking into the bank, and I could see what maybe the office is, because sometimes with the office is right up next to the windows. If I could see what's going on in that computer, guess what? That's legal. You can't trespass my eyes. You can't come out and you can't tell me, you can't say, John, your eyes can't look at that. Well, no, I can. I'm not in the bank, right? Okay, I'm out on the street. That's what it kind of is. You're on the street, you can see that, you can do that. Now, whose responsibility is it in this scenario that I gave you? Well, if there's private information, sensitive information, or you want an expectation of privacy, because they're in a bank and they're in the office, then you install some curtains. Put one of those little things on your computer screen that, unless you're sitting right in front of the computer screen, you go off to the side or look a little bit, and it's all that kind of thing there and everything. So go look at that, right? That's what I'm saying. They have that reason that they have to create privacy. It's just like walking down the street, right? If you walk down the street in your neighborhood and you see someone going ahead and walking around naked in front of the window, guess what? That's not me. That I'm not doing anything illegal, right? I can see you naked. Okay, hey, great. maybe not, depending on the situation, but that's not important right now. But then you have a responsibility of privacy to establish, right? So that's the understanding about there. If you are in the public, you can do it. And I mean, people have always said, oh, no, like that's against the law. You can't do it. And actually not. Like law enforcement officers, if it is in eye range, right? That's why they shine the flashlight into the back of your seat of your car, right? Take a look. Oh my God, there's a bloody knife and a bloody cloth or bloody shirt. Okay, come on out. You're being arrested or detained because we're investigating a murder or an assault or something, right? That's okay to do that. When it doesn't become okay to do that is when you are entering businesses, when you are entering private things. Now, once again, 10,000-foot view, there might be certain things that might get a little more granular that you got to deal with. But like if I get invited into a business, if I walk into a business, right, and they see me have a body cam on, guess what? They could say, hey, we don't want you in here recording. Okay, well, I'm in a business, right? So that business has the right to do that. But can I walk outside on the sidewalk and then look in through the windows or the doors and have my body cam on? Yes, you can. Now, I'm not going to get into legalities of like law enforcement body cam usage, EMS, firefighters. They sometimes have the helmet fire cams on there too. That can get into a really big quagmire because it also plays into some of the things of like the laws that you have. So for an example, Wisconsin is a single party notification state. And so what that means is that I can record, like if I'm talking to you on the phone or I'm talking to you in person and I have a camera hidden, that's fine. It's only one party notification state. So what I can do is I can sit and I could be like, oh, blah, 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 and talking and everything. And guess what? Of the two people involved, I am one of the parties. I, as a single party, am aware of that you are going ahead and that there's a recording going on. So that's how some states get around it. Now, some states are consensual, okay, that you have to do that. And once again, this starts to get when you get into the weeds here, the legalities, we're not going to do that there. But let's back out. Let's go back to that 10,000-foot view. So you're walking down the street. Hey, I can go ahead and do that, right? I can do this. And I'll be honest with you. You're being recorded anyways. You are being recorded any which way, right? Door ring bell cameras, right? How many people have a door ring bell camera or a Nest or what are the other ones? I don't know all the other ones that are out there and stuff like that. But guess what? Ring doorbells. Guess what? When you walk up, you don't even have to do anything. You don't even have to interact with it. The minute it sees you, motion detects, boom, it starts recording. So with that being said, now we have the situation where we're being recorded in that regards. Okay. How many of you have ever gone into, and I see this a lot, and it has just appears to be in Walmart where I live or where it's near, but you go down the health and beauty aid aisle, big pole coming down. It's got this black dome camera, and it's got actually the monitor. So you can actually take a look and see yourself on there. And I've done that numerous times. Like, hi, I'm not stealing anything, but thanks for watching. Guess what? You are in their store. Okay. They can do that. They can record in their own store. Okay. There's big signs that saying recording in progress. So guess what? That's notifying you that there's recording taking place. But security cameras, department stores, excuse me, dash cams, right? Dash cam in the car to protect the car, but it may unintentionally catch different things on there. Guess what? It's there, right? It's there. You can do that. You could accidentally be on a dash cam. Is it illegal? Nope, because guess what? The vehicle's in public. Now, once again, you go into private things, that's where things get different and things get tricky on there. I'm I really have to laugh because, how can I say this? There was a situation, okay? There was a situation which involved a person, let's call him Jay, alrighty? And Jay was at a event, okay? And while Jay's at this event, they had some YouTubers that came around. And the interesting part about YouTubers, okay, I mean, I guess I'm a YouTuber here, but I'm not like, communications and conversations on the street here today. No. I have my shows in a means of information and entertainment, right? I'm not trying to do investigative reporting. Anyways, but Jay was talking to some YouTubers. And as the YouTubers like to do, they like to, some, will show the true video, the true thing in their raw format, while others may change things a little bit and do a little creative editing. I have to laugh. It's kind of like that meme, right? Where it shows this person, it looks like a young boy who's laying on the ground, and it looks like this boot is pushing against his face. And it says, how dare they treat the youth like this? And then the next picture is zoomed out, and you see the kid himself has his hand in the boot, pushing against his own. It's a staged photo. He staged the photo to make it look like someone was pushing down on his head with a boot. That's what I'm kind of saying there, right? So there was some editing that took place. And, of course, when editing is done, if they do it correctly, and, all this AI crap and everything these days, it was turned around so it looks like words were twisted. All right? So then what ends up happening is this person goes along, Jay, goes and he decides that he's going to document his stuff. Let's put it that way. And it's so funny how when the YouTubers are YouTubing people, things, or whatever, it's First Amendment right, da-da-da-da-da, you can't stop me from recording you, blah, 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 all these kind of people. But then all of a sudden, the next thing you know is all of a sudden, without saying it, all of a sudden you happen to have a camera. And now some of these YouTubers, all of a sudden, they are like, why are you recording? Why do you need to record? You can't record, or it's not that you can't record, but you shouldn't. Why are you recording? That makes no sense. Why, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, wow, is that like the pot calling the kettle black there, right? Because they're recording you, you're recording them, and then all of a sudden there. So Jay had that interesting experience. Excuse me. So that's kind of why, and to be honest with you, the way things are, you can go out online and look at some of these YouTube channels where people are out, and there's a few good ones. There's the Amagustus Press. That's the one I watch a lot. Nice guy. His name's Jason. He travels across the United States, makes like travel videos. He comes into just different little cities along the way while he's traveling, and he's always out on the street. Nice guy, not a problem whatsoever. And then these people just come out and just like attack him, like verbally, like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, I'm just going ahead and doing some videos, some travel videos, which he is. That's all he is. And I got stuff falling here. And he's just making some travel videos, and he's just having a good time with everything. And while he's doing that, people are just losing their minds on it. So quite hilarious. Sorry about that. Quite hilarious on these body cams. So just kind of some things to think about here in it. Now, what is it about body cams? What body cam should you buy? There's a lot on there. Sorry, once again, off studio here. We always have issues, technical issues. What kind of body cam should you buy? Well, guess what? There's a couple different varieties of body cams. Some are, the full-size, full-fledged body cam. This is one that JJK Communications sells that they let it. This is a Redivis one. It's got a little display on there. It's got Wi-Fi built into it. You can download and look at the video right away. Excuse me. In addition, you could take off this back clip here, and you can do it to a mount, and then when you plug the USB cord into here, and then you plug it into the cigarette lighter, it becomes a dash cam, which I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool on there. I have other ones. Another very popular company out there, Bavlov on there. I'm not a Bavlov dealer. JJK is not a Bavlov dealer. No one's a Bavlov dealer here. Just bought Bavlov offline. So I just wanted to clarify, just full disclosure, JJK Communications sells Retevis body cams. They do not sell Bavlov. But this is a smaller little one, tiny little one. It's really neat, kind of small. You can almost kind of hold it in your hand kind of on there. It does have a little like clip on, so you can clip it on here. This is really cool. This is really kind of good too, because, it can kind of be hidden on there, small ones. Dash cams. Now, this is a dash cam. This is I believe it's a Street Hawk, I think it is. Yeah, Street Hawk on there. Nice dash cam, connects on there, has it on there, but these are just a small sampling of the different options that are out there for body cams, dash cams, those kind of things on there. Now, the question comes into kind of we talked about it before, like EMS, fire, police, those kind of things like that. How does it do with you? Like, and think of the special events is what I'm more talking about right now, where you have it kind of, let's say it this way. You are helping out with an event or served agency or something like that. And because of it, you want to have an extra level of protection. What do? I want to body cam it. I want to record it. Okay. You have to check with the laws, the regulations, not only on like your business level you want to check with, because if you're volunteering for an organization and you all of a sudden have a body cam there and you're recording things, the organization may say, too bad, so sad. No, we're not doing this. But then other times it might be like, yeah, that's fine. Do it. Definitely. So there's a whole different skew of things on there. Once again, if you're in a public area, that's not a problem. Okay. I've attended, like I said, numerous different events, things, that kind of thing, where people are wearing body cams all the time. Even some, I'll reach over to here, devices like this, actually. This is a kind of a multi-mode device, really. It is not only a heavy-duty cell phone here, it also has FLIR built into it. You can even see it says FLIR on there. Has FLIR built in. It's pretty cool. This holster that I have for it attaches like to here, so I can like put it here. But then this also functions as a body camera too. There's quick buttons on the side that you can do to hit it on there, and it will act like a body camera on there too. So not necessarily the traditional vein of just an actual body cam, but sometimes people use their cell phones. Now, cell phones are obviously a little bit more visible on there. When you start to talk in legalities of like securing of the footage, right? Like this, I can easily manipulate the footage right away. With devices like this, usually you have to hook it up, download it. It's password protected. There's a lot of things on there that actually makes, if you're going to actually go out and do video, that you want something in the raw, you want something to protect you. You want to have this on. You're like, I'm going to be walking through a bad neighborhood, or I'm going to be walking through an event and I'm kind of worried and blah, 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 whatever the scenario might be. Your body cams are going to be a little bit better and probably a little bit more secure. Once again, you can take, put the body cam really anywhere. I'll put it, here, just kind of clip it on there and look at it. It's right there. To be honest with you, you put a speaker mic next to it, you wouldn't even know it's a body cam. You'd think it's like almost like a speaker mic if you weren't really aware of it. But having it, secured on there, password protected on there, lots of different like features that could be on there. Like this has an actual alarm thing where you can like turn it on and it goes and it flashes red and blue lights on the camera here. It has a little like laser dot, so where you're pointing at and you're getting the best direction on there. Once again, to all little ones like this that I actually use myself here. I've used this one a lot, but we also use it for parades and events. So family members and stuff will actually be like, hey, John, can I borrow your body cam? Do you have that little Bavlov one? Because they'll be in a band, they'll be in something like that or whatever. And this has a little magnetic back, clips right to there. You don't even need something. It just has like a little magnet there. And what you do is you clip it on there, and then guess what? Next thing you know is all of a sudden you're walking along, and it's kind of cool. Like one of my relatives actually borrowed it for their band. They were in a band. I think their kid was in a band or something. And they borrowed it. And it was kind of cool them doing the marching parade with that on there, because it was just, I don't know, it's kind of like, like live PD, live body cam. I think there was a TV show on called that, but there, anyways. But they're all over the place. Our body cams, is our body cams bad? And in my opinion, I want to stress, this is my opinion here. No, I don't think body cams are bad. And the people that usually tend to have problems with body cams or stuff like that are being recorded. You can't record me. You take it off there. It kind of makes me wonder, right? If you're not doing anything illegal and you are out in the general public, why would you be afraid of being recorded? And more so, let's use this scenario. I'm walking down the street. You are walking towards me. I haven't had my body cam on. I'm not in a capacity of police, fire, EMS, investigative services, security, nothing like that. I just happen to have a body cam on. My self-protection, right? All of a sudden, someone sees that, and then they go nuts on the people. Well, why are you going nuts? I don't want my picture on there. I want this. Well, okay, one, you approach the person wearing the body cam, right? Don't draw anything to yourself. You see something you don't like, divert the path, right? As they say, remove yourself from the situation, or just don't even make point of it. Just keep walking. A lot of these First Amendment auditors, they'll go through, and some really push it. I'm going to say that. Some really push it. I sit and I get kind of cringy at the video. I'm like, hey, dude, you're really starting to cross a bunch of lines from a gray here. But then there's other times where these people are just, hey, I'm just out taking a video, taking some beautiful pictures. Like, once again, the Amigasted Press on there, Jason is his name. He went along, and he's just like, I'm just taking pictures, and people come up. Why are you recording? What do you mean? Why are you recording? What are you doing? And it's just so funny, some of his responses. It's like, I don't want you to record. I don't want you to record. And he's like, but you came up to me and you asked, what am I doing? If you don't want me to record you, why are you coming up and doing that? And I just have to laugh because I'm like, okay, he's 110% correct, right? Like, if you don't want to be recorded, then why the heck are you coming up to the person there? But it's just, I don't know. I just think it's kind of interesting that there's people that are just like yelling, you can't record me and those kind of things. But then furthermore, where are these people walking down? You're walking down on the street. I mean, take a moment next time when you're in a busy metropolitan area or something, stop and take a moment, look around and really look. You would be surprised at how many cameras are actually out there and looking at you. I'll give you an example. Went to Buffalo Wild Wings. Okay, it's Buffalo Wild Wings. It's good food. It's okay, right? I went there, was eating. I take a moment, kind of do a look around. 1, 2, 3, 4. I counted 15 cameras. 15 cameras on the inside of Buffalo Wild Wings, all going ahead and pointing down at all of us that were eating. Like, and some were hidden by like the TVs too. Like, you could just tell where they were mounted. They were strategically placed to be hidden by the TV. So I'm just like, okay, you're being recorded everywhere, right? Everywhere you're being recorded. So I don't know. Body cams are going to be a thing. I guarantee you. I mean, everybody's taking their picture. I mean, I joke around, and for those of you that know, like watching me knowing public safety, if the Titanic sunk today, there would be all those people in the water holding up their cell phones, going ahead and giving the hi, the finger, the V finger thing, oh, hello, or like, hi, da-da-da-da-da, post it on the gram before I gurgle, before I become unalive. And I'm just like, my God, you know that. You know that, especially if you're in public safety, that's what would be happening in this day and age. So, I don't know. I kind of feel it's interesting. I really do. One thing I will say, last kind of final point here, because it's just about on the clock. We're almost done for this episode. But I know, for example, there was a guy in Minnesota in the city center. So the city center is a big hotel complex, big building, one of the tall buildings on the Minneapolis skyline. And Minneapolis has basically a habit trail system is really kind of what it is. You can go in one building in Minneapolis and you don't need to leave another building. You'd almost get across the whole city, okay? Anyways, he's in there, and he was just kind of taking his own video with his own phone in the reverse camera mode and walking and talking. Security was like, no, 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 you can't do that. And even law enforcement was being called. And law enforcement, I guess, even like later on, the guy in some follow-up video or something went along and said, yeah, it's their private building. You cannot go and videotape. They don't want you videotaping it in there. And okay, I can see that. I guess I can see that for a reason. I mean, there's businesses in there. There might be something on there. They're worried about some, people scoping it out or something. But that's inside the business now. Because you might say, John, you just said that there's nothing wrong with videotaping and everything. Right, outside in legal manners. Right. If you, once again, you have a camera, you have a body cam, you have something like that on there, and you're walking into a business and the business tells you, get out, there's no videotaping allowed, guess what? Get the hell out. Get the hell out. Don't be a prick. Get the hell out. So body cams are an interesting thing. I've seen many, for all the stories you hear about the bad people using body cams and thinking they could do whatever they want or blah, 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 versus the stories of like, you hear, which you don't hear in the news, right? The news won't tell you that kind of thing. But when you hear of like saying, hey, I had this dash cam footage, right? I had this body cam footage. I had the cell phone footage. It really has helped out a lot of people. It really has on there. Yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting thing. It's going to be something that slowly is going to become more and more prevalent. I just can't stop saying that because that's what it is. And on there. And like I said, it's just kind of funny, carrying a camera and then the people carrying a camera start pointing at you. And then you start carrying a camera back, and all of a sudden everybody loses their mind. So, well, that's it for today's episode. See, I have a camera here right now. See, technically. So I'm going to videotape myself ending the show here. And then when I do that, I should put that in next week's show, right? We got some interesting shows coming up the later of throughout the year here. We're actually going to be doing a couple shows dedicated to actually some educational programming of like some MCOM stuff on there, so stay tuned for that. Until then, thank you for everybody that did it. Thank you for once again for Scott dropping out, and guess what? We're going to go ahead and catch you on the next episode.